change the world landscape as we know it? See, TSA, I could go on and on.
That's a good question. A lot of
the world landscape as we know it. TSA, I could go on and on. You should probably give more than one example there,
dude. TSA makes things pretty inconvenient.
That's the only inconvenience he's had.
Listen.
This is the U.S. intelligence agency, Mind Control.
Guy who's angry at the gay military.
The boomer guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, millennials don't care about 9/11. I just think that this has got to be funny, right? Him being triggered that people don't care about 9/11. Listen, I fought in Vietnam, the only war that's even worse than the Iraq one.
I think saying that millennials don't care about 9/11 is like insanely ignorant, because they make up
who attacked us on 9/11?
Pretty much the majority of people who fought in the Iraq and Afghan wars were millennials.
This is Gen Z. It says Gen Z. It's the Zoomers,
Gen
actually.
Z. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Zoomer, and I was born like...
we're paused on 9/11 in the background right now. Okay, anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, it matters, trust me. You're not supposed to show those planes hitting them towers. First of all, look how old this child is. Why should this child be required to know who did 9/11? She probably doesn't even know.
In case of pop quiz.
She probably has never even heard the word Al Qaeda.
I don't know. This looks like a college campus that they're filming on.
That can't be a college kid, bro. If that's
You'd
a college
be shocked.
kid, Baby
Yeah,
Yoda.
some of them look very young.
I will lose my mind if this is a college student. But anyway, this whole thing, right? When you see this type of thing with people on the street like this, students especially, and they go up to them and they ask them questions about they'll like Fox News will go do it in New York. They'll ask New Yorkers about some stupid thing that nobody actually cares about. The average person doesn't watch news or care about any of these things. So when you see this type of setup where they're interviewing random on the people on the street, you got to disregard.
Very loosely, not really.
I don't know. I know they were just like extremists.
Come on. Stop demonetizing us.
I mean, extremist is close enough.
About the government, I don't know.
Yeah. The younger generation doesn't care because we all like hate the military. We hate America.
Why'd you laugh like that, John? You fucking scared the shit out of me.
Are you laughing at the hard cut?
Yeah.
We need to clip
editing, bro.
We need to clip the beginning of John's laugh there. That was insane.
I've never wheezed laughed. I need my inhaler. Okay, here we go. This.
Because we all like hate the military. We hate America.
In 9/11, the largest terrorist attack on our nation's soil, which led to 20 years of war in the Middle East. You think the generation would have some compassion, would know about it, schools would be interested in teaching it. Then you wonder why recruiting's down. Let's take a look at what Gen Z really thinks about the military, America, and you.
It doesn't hold a lot of significance. It was kind of a, what's it called? They're trying to save, kind of.
I need my inhaler, bro. Honestly, one of the funniest things that I've ever seen.
Of morals and everything. So something like that.
We believe over wars and things that people had going on between the both countries.
Let me set the stage here. These are college students being interviewed. What does 9/11 mean to you? What do you think about the country, America, the military? And these people just don't know. They got
Okay,
It
so
it would also depend on where in the country the college is too. I imagine
Well-
that New York colleges is probably have a stronger connection than fucking Nebraska.
you'd have to be really stupid to not understand why kids on a college campus are going to be anti-military this day and age. So
more information at their fingertips than ever. But what they do know is they hate America. They hate the military. They don't have any idea of what 9/11 meant to many families. Since their loved ones went off to fight for 20 years, many died, injured, permanently scarred. And I don't know that they really care.
Yesterday was the 21st anniversary of 9/11. I'm asking the younger generation, does this date still hold significance to you? Do you still think it's important?
Nobody cares about it. Like our age, because like a lot of us understand like
Such a blunt answer.
the reality behind what happened and how much like we did to other countries to like not like deserve, but like deserve what happened.
Yes!
Like 9/11.
yes,
Obviously-
this man clearly watches Hassan. He knows.
He knows.
He knows. He knows that. No, deserve. Honestly, seriously, what did America? That's the thing. Is you this take is all you hear this take all the time. What did America do to deserve 9/11? Anyone, shout it out. Let's go. You in the back.
Capitalism.
That's a pathetic answer. Pathetic.
I'm gonna go ahead and say probably like Madonna.
The singer?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a pretty good guess.
This whole narrative about American capitalism leaching into Saudi Arabia. Go back and look at a map and look at who controlled every country around Saudi Arabia at the time. You know, want to take a guess who it was?
Iran?
No. When the Americans first made the oil deal after World War II.
Hold up. Like before that or after?
When America makes their deal with Saudi Arabia for the oil, when they first come in, right? The first deal with America and Saudi Arabia, it's like 1950s, 1950 something, maybe 1960s. So it was right after World War II.
Was it Egypt?
All the countries at that point in time were either in like the British or French sphere of influence.
Exactly, except for Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is literally surrounded by British at this point. And we want to think that it's America who is coming in there, thinking that the Americans are taking advantage of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia knew exactly what they were doing because they knew if they went and they were making a free trade, because at the time, you know what the British did? They would give you like 50% of the profits. We see this in Sudan where they say that they give them 2%, but they don't actually audit anything, right? So that's what the British did, is that they would give you, if you're basically under their colonial rule, you would get 50%. Saudi Arabia was able to actually like negotiate a better deal because they weren't ruled by an imperial power. They actually were able to negotiate a better deal and get themselves in a better position because they started basically in that kind of relationship where it was like a 50% kickback, but they got it up where they were getting like a majority of the kickback. So this narrative, Saudi Arabia certainly wasn't from there. And that's the thing. It's like, where else? You hear people say that the whole Satan narrative that comes from Iran, and then it's like supporting Israel. Like, you know what was baller is like when those oil countries raised the oil prices, they like basically locked America out from oil and raised oil prices because they were supporting Israel in the 6-Day War.
Well, I think it also comes down to like these policies, we'll call them, regarding oil deals and like American influence in the region, etc. They don't really. It's not something that would radicalize somebody. I feel like radicalization.
Yeah, but the
is more like,
1979 was a crazy year.
No, yeah, 1979 is kind of when things transition, at least in Saudi, and then the broader Middle East. But
everywhere.
Yeah.
But before that, it's all very.
People
nationalism.
always bring up Iran into this, and they're acting like the majority of Al Qaeda membership comes from Iran or some shit. That's just, it's not true.
Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the guy who planned 9/11, is Pakistani.
Yeah, and like the head like ringleader of the whole thing was Egyptian. So do with that information what
Yeah,
you will.
well, and one of them was from Yemen. It was a Yemen and an Egyptian running that shit.
And the other thing that people have to realize is the reason that a lot of the hijackers were Saudi and like there were like two who were Emirati. The reason for that is because I would imagine, at least from Al Qaeda's perspective, it was just like logistics. I feel like it would be easier. It would be easier for a Saudi or an Emirati or whatever to get into the U.S. than like a Yemeni or a Pakistani or whatever.
Like support to all the families and everybody like that.
You want this fucking douchebag down in the corner. You want these kids to care about America? Fucking actually take care of your citizens like a first world country does.
And like it's a tragic event, but the amount of shit we've done to other countries, like the younger generation doesn't care because we all like hate the military, we hate America. So there's like bigger tragedies that really don't get like touched on. Like,
all right, lots to unpack there with that little debate. So he blames 9/11 on what America did, right? And then he proceeds to say how the generation Gen Z hates America, hates the military, so we really don't care. And to top it off, apparently the schools don't teach it, or they teach it on some political basis instead of saying, here's what happened. We were attacked. People died. We went off to fight a war about it. They get hung up in the policy, right? Instead of saying there was people who fought, they were patriotic, that thought they were doing the right thing. Whether or not the policy was right, the troops went over because they loved their country.
That's not how education works. When I was in school, when 9/11 happened, we didn't learn about the Gulf War. We learned about Vietnam. We didn't learn about the Gulf War.
There is actually in my history textbooks they briefly cover
they would probably, I would say 9/11 specifically. Yeah, there's probably
they briefly cover not it's not like anything crazy, but there's like a small chapter on 9/11, the Iraq War, Afghanistan, war on terror, all that shit. At least from what I recall growing up, like in middle school and all that. Yeah, and kind of for us, because at the time I was living in Canada, it kind of gets into how like Canada kind of roped themselves into the Iraq War despite like it not really making sense for them to do so. Kind of what I remember from it.
Why was Australia there?
America. And
I don't know. You're the Australian.
Because you live in England.
I didn't even fucking know.
Because you listen to England. You want to know why? Because Australia has stakes in the opium too.
Yeah, of course.
The thought process with a lot of Canadians, and this is just kind of like the mainstream opinion, is if we had a different prime minister, we probably wouldn't have gotten involved in Iraq.
Yeah, it was kind of a perfect combo. I mean,
yeah,
maybe that's why the Millennium attacks didn't really work out and why they waited a year, because they're like, hey, we can get some better shitheads in office to make this really go our way.
There was a whole like thing with kind of more like nationalistic conservative people at the time in Canada where they were like, well, you know, they basically like were straight up admitting like, yeah, they're going to war for a stupid reason in Iraq, but they're America. They're like our number one ally, so we have to like help them. That was like the thought process.
I would just turn into a little kid and just keep asking, but why?
Mm-hmm.
But why?
And these people just don't give a shit. They don't want to know. The stuff's right at their fingertips, and they keep spouting off this bullshit.
I forgot that like it was 9/11 the other day until I saw like a post about it.
Based.
So based.
I mean, listen. If you're gonna get mad about that, I think you haven't realized how long it's been. It's been over 20 years for a lot of people. It's just like not even Gen Z, but just like even people who lived through it.
I already am eating from the trash can all the time.
Yeah, a lot of people just forget about it. It's been so long.
I mean, I don't, but I'm also special.
Right.
As in, I think that it's always been funny.
Jesus.
Honestly, when was it too soon to start making 9/11 jokes? In my mind, the best response to 9/11, I made a 9/11 joke on Drew the other day because he was like saying he was saying basically how people were like also taking disrespectfuls at the memorial, and like I quote tweeted it with like something where I was like, me when I can't stop making 9/11 jokes or something. But the thing is, it's like I obviously wouldn't go to the memorial and be like a shithead or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I know my audience, and I know that it's really funny to, act like it was like an anime fight and have every year posted my Bin Laden anime.
Yeah.
But
telling Haqqani that 9/11 happened.
or that Omar, telling Omar.
I'm sorry, not Haqqani, my
Yeah.
Omar, my bad.
But like, if you make fun of 9/11 instead of crying about 9/11, you end up not torturing people. When you cry about 9/11, you end up torturing people. We waterboarded Khalid Sheikh Mohammed like 187 times or something like that. As far as we know, it's the world record for waterboarding. The only actionable intelligence that we got out of that. You ready for this? This is why you don't torture people. This is the intelligence it yields. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed said the next attack was black Muslim arsonists in Montana. Imagine the money that the State Department spent chasing that down. And all that the torture did was make our enemies stronger. Al-Qaeda and Daesh still use it to recruit today, but they especially use Abu Ghraib, not really the Guantanamo stuff, because that's not as documented. Like, it left a stain on our country. When you go into it where the beginning of that war is just like torture and stuff, you immediately are losing people. They're disaffected, and you have 20 years of people disaffected about what you fucking did. Don't torture people. Solution. There you go. Also, laugh at 9/11. Solution.
I don't remember at all.
Do you think it's still significant?
Maybe, but not really to the younger generation.
How is this not significant to the younger generation? We were in a war for 20 years. Like the war, don't like the war, WMDs in Iraq, I get it. But is it significant?
Who's we?
Don't you get it? He speaks for the people.
You weren't in that war, dog.
I mean, here's the thing that I don't understand about him getting so pissed off about it not being significant to people who weren't born when it happened. It's just a psychological thing. Like, you can't really be attached to something that you didn't witness happen, you know?
When it happened, I wasn't old enough to grasp it. I was like, cool explosion, in a way. I couldn't grasp what it meant or anything, or 3,000 people dying, or what was actually the consequences, or what was going on in the world at the time. I was very young. But probably 4 to 6 years later, I'm working with the fucking Iraqi resistance and writing a blog and shit like that. There's this documentary I saw. It's all found footage from that day, and it's pieced together through people's reactions throughout the city. That really did a way to hit home how important it was, because it was the people's responses, and it was just this great. I think History Channel made it. It was back when History Channel did stuff that was cool.
Significant when someone
Now
attacks.
they just sell this guy a gun. I think that's their most popular show or something. They come in with, he comes in and they say I got this thing here, and it's a signed baseball, and he's and then he has to call an expert or something. And they're all fat.
No. It's not even an expert. It's just his buddy.
Yeah.
just his homie.
Yeah, he has a homie for everyone. That's this guy, right?
Yeah. He's got a homie who just knows.
This is the same show.
Just knows a lot about everything.
Yeah.
Sure,
Jimmy,
country
what do you think about
on
this
a
year baseball?
coordinated scale with.
They say Ken Griffey Jr. signed it. I don't know.
The baseball signature, I remember one specifically. There's one where they say the name of who authenticated it, and then go through the whole thing of describing how much it would be worth, what to look for in the signature, talk for 10 minutes, and they go, unfortunately, the guy who authenticated this is known to be a fraudster. It's bro, you wasted everyone's time. If you knew just from the top of the list, because you knew who authenticated it, you should have just, how is that not a phone call? Somebody had to come all the way down there.
Planes. Yeah, I would say so. And then what happened after that? So is 9/11 on its face significant? It changed the world landscape as we know it. See, TSA, I could go on and on.
That's a good question. A lot of
the world landscape as we know it. TSA, I could go on and on. You should probably give more than one example there, dude.
TSA makes things pretty inconvenient.
That's the only inconvenience he's had.
Listen. You ever wear
People really,
Converse high tops to the airport?
Oh, bro, I got the
You
airport.
gotta take the,
I got the
you gotta
airport
take the
master.
bitches off.
I wear slides. I don't wear a belt. Like
Phones only.
I keep my laptop outside of its case. Like I go through that line in like 5 seconds, and then I'll always get stuck behind an old lady that is like, "What is an electronic?"
About it. I know what things to say. Don't forget, but I don't think it really gets talked about much these days anymore.
They interviewed that kid in front of a sign for pumpkin spice. What did you expect?
Grew up in a really small town, so every single year you had to watch in every single class from different angles of burning buildings, people dying, and they'd be like, "What did you learn from that?" And I'd be like, "That was terrible," and I'm 7. I can't pretend like that what happened to them didn't matter, but
yeah, I mean that's about my reaction when it
That's such a
happened.
great
I was about
answer.
that age.
She makes
I was
a
about
pretty
that
good
age.
point. Yeah, she makes a very good point. Yeah, no, that would happen. It's like they would show us these videos of 9/11, like in high school, and then they'd ask like, "Oh, so what'd you think?" And I was like, I don't know, bro. I just saw a lot of people fucking panicking."
I like the guy who jumped out the window.
The thing is like, I don't think you can just really like teach a lesson on 9/11.
I know for me, it doesn't hold a lot of significance. It just feels like a lot of times it makes up for like excessive patriotism.
Wait a second. So she doesn't know about it. She grew up in a small town where they actually taught some history, and she didn't like it. And it make
What do you mean? She just said that she didn't say that she didn't know about it. Bro, I think you have 2 hearing aids.
That's
in your
such a
ear,
ridiculous
and you missed that. She definitely come on.
up. So learning about 9/11.
See, this is funny because the camera crew, they walked up to her because she has purple hair, but this is Texas. It's like Austin, Texas, right? So it's like, oh, there's one of those purple-haired people. We'll walk up to them. So it's like first they target the person who's standing in front of pumpkin spice, and now this girl. Well, this girl knows what she's talking about.
Makes up for excessive patriotism. So I know today, if you're a patriot, you're a
here we
threat
go.
to the democracy.
Oh
so
my
she's
God, here we go.
Buckle in, fellas.
Here we go. If you like
It's
the
always the
country,
same
you're actually
spiel.
a threat to the country. Yeah, dude, we're talking about you when we talk about that. We're definitely not talking about the fucking people in skull masks working with fucking Al-Qaeda.
the talking points down. If you study 9/11, if you are interested in 9/11, you have excessive patriotism.
I guarantee you this guy has not studied 9/11. I guarantee you he has not studied 9/11.
His research is YouTube videos.
Bro. No. I don't think he's done any research. I don't think he's watched anything on 9/11. He is just one of those people where he's like, 9/11 happened, and that's why everything is right and justice. Like he hasn't looked up certain things. Like he's obviously not going to believe the inside job, which it's not obviously. He's probably like never even given thought to like the conspiracy they try to throw you around with the Tower 8 or whatever. Like all those things. He's never experienced any of that. That guy's not online. He doesn't know any of this. Do you know how much information about 9/11 you just kind of have to go through default by life just because of people like Joe Rogan talking about the fucking extra building that fell down? And by the way, if Joe Rogan can figure out why Building 8 fell down, anyone can. So there's no excuse.
Tower 7.
Are you tracking here? And if you are,
Exactly.
please
Who the fuck cares?
let me know in the comments. Explain to me how I'm wrong.
It's asking that like the younger generation,
Just did.
if they remember what yesterday was.
Sunday. Was that a trick question? I don't get it.
So today, September 12th. what was
Okay,
it?
if nobody knows what date it is anymore, people aren't using calendars and shit. They don't need to fucking like put their appointments on calendars. Nobody buys calendars anymore. Okay, do you understand this, man?
Yesterday.
Oh, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. It's 9/11.
I'm from New York. It's traumatizing. It's traumatizing, and I don't think we will ever be.
Come on, man. Tell me they're not doing this deliberately. You tell me they're not doing this deliberately right here? Jack, you don't know what this is.
We accept EBT.
This is food stamps behind it.
Oh, really?
Come on.
Okay.
That's framing.
What do you mean Jack doesn't know this? Jack lived in America. He knows what EBT is.
I have no idea. I've never seen that.
Yeah,
Really?
That's yeah.
Yeah.
They're awesome, dude. I don't pay for any groceries.
About it.
So I've been talking to a lot of the students here on campus, and a lot of them say that they don't know or really care about 9/11. I even had a student who said, because we don't celebrate Juneteenth, we shouldn't celebrate 9/11. What are your thoughts on that?
Who are those?
Why would we celebrate 9/11? Wait, what the fuck? Celebrate like
Bro,
we
I'm
just-
so yeah, I didn't catch that. That's so funny. She did say that. She did say that.
Are we supposed to like fucking light up fireworks on 9/11?
Look at his face. He's like, celebrate 9/11. What did you just say?
It's commemorate.
Listen, I am the most Al Qaeda one here.
Children and what are their names?
So the one skinny metrosexual darker fellow.
Oh my god. This guy is my fucking hero.
Said he hated the country, hates the military. We don't celebrate Juneteenth, so why should I care about 9/11? That was the little soy kombucha loving D-bag's position on 9/11. If you don't do Juneteenth, don't do 9/11.
Who attacked us on 9/11?
Who attacked us? What's the group called?
ISIS.
ISIS. Yeah.
Or terror.
They do the same thing with Julian Assange and Edward Snowden. Nobody knows the difference.
I don't know the exact name. I forgot.
Okay. I don't want to say the wrong. Iraq, Afghanistan.
It was, I believe, a group of terrorists that hijacked a few planes, flew them into the Twin Towers.
Osama bin Laden.
It was the terrorist group. Yeah.
Okay. And do you know like what terrorist group?
Not specifically.
Hold on. I just gotta think. 1 second.
He's gonna say ISIS.
Oh yeah.
I did know. I did.
We were taught this.
Do you know who attacked us on 9/11?
I can't believe this isn't a child. Do you remember that happened?
You should know American history, big portion of it, right? Now, I really don't know, and I haven't cared enough to look into it, and I'm not going to look into it. I'm too busy watching stupid anime and playing video games.
Oh my god, I'm blanking on Osama bin Laden and the terrorist group. Yeah, it's a terrorist group. I just can't remember.
Do you know why they attacked us? Like, what was their reasoning for attacking us?
I don't know necessarily the reason. I mean, they're just considered a terrorist group. I guess that's all.
God, I hope the Pawn Stars man tells us why they did it. I really hope he gives us the reason.
What we really have on that.
Now, you could get deep into the weeds of why did they attack us. There's
Come on,
Osama bin
dude.
Laden wasn't happy about the first
Come
Gulf
on.
War. Lots of moving parts here, but
Bro.
ultimately, let's say
come
we
on.
disagree.
Dude,
with
if that's the only dude, he nailed it. Like that's about as close as you can get. You know, I want to hear more from that though. I want to hear you exactly tell me why they attacked us.
policy of how we handled the war going into Iraq when Afghanistan was the primary source, at least with the first intel. Wouldn't you want to know about it? Wouldn't you want to understand? Somebody attacked the country, regardless of what they say the reasons were, because the low-level functionaries who did the attack really don't know, but we were attacked. You should know about it. And then we entered into a 20-year war, which cost us blood and treasure and changed the world forever.
I personally have no idea.
I can't stand when they say the words blood and treasure. Can you just not say treasure? Just don't say treasure. Just say blood. Just leave treasure out of it, my guy. Don't say that. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Was it a retaliation of someone who was president at the time, like Bush,
Revenge.
for
I don't know, the war they had back then.
Revenge.
Just to terrorize, I don't know, I guess.
Nailed it.
Probably not.
Nailed it. Exactly right. Good one. That's what's up.
Try to bring our country down, I guess.
Now, why do you think this generation's not interested in joining the military, doesn't have any basis or reference about 9/11, and a bigger issue, really doesn't care, think it's our fault? Were they taught that in school? Is being a
I want to know your answer.